Uh, Devendra?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are recording.
Devendra, we are recording. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay. Record. Let's start.
So let's see if you can see the screen. Uh, Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah,
It should be saying AngularJS in
yeah,
bold letters. Okay.
correct.
So we'll go through the recap. I don't see the same, people attending again. So very good. So which means that we have now the interested parties. Okay. So we'll go through the recap. So I understand there was a glitch in the previous meeting. We could not install each and everything, and that's why I have rolled out an email containing all the steps so that you can, go through these steps to set up your environment. Who has not done it? Everybody has done that, including those who don't have laptops, right? You have done that, right? Okay. You're not able to do it? What? Anybody else is not able to do it? I am not going each and everybody to ask, have you done it or not? Who has not done it? Okay. Looks like everybody has done it apart from, what's your name?
Mudassir.
Mudassir. Sorry. Okay, no problem. So we'll catch up Mudassir later. After this, you're going to meet me so that we'll set up. Okay. We have to make sure that you are done. Okay. So my intent is to, do the hands-on so that you guys are not only hearing or not only watching, you will be doing it by yourself. Okay. And I believe that it will make you more capable in doing Angular projects. Okay. So we'll do the recap. I think two things we have done. One is the setup that everybody has done. Second is two-way binding. Are you able to understand and repeat the process? Who has not? So we can cover it again. I mean, if a lot of people have not understood it. Everybody. What is that? Yes or no? Yes, yes. Okay, very good. So we'll jump straight to the topic. I'll skip few slides. We have done this earlier. Okay, I wanted to watch this. Okay. So I know that last time we have discussed a lot about Angular as a framework, but I still want you to see this slide. And by the end of the all Angular training, you should be able to achieve anything out of it. Okay. So you should be able to do data binding, which we have done in the last, in the last session. MVC we have understood. Routing we'll do today. Testing we'll do in some of the sessions. JQLite you are using under the hood. Already you will get to know about that. Templates we'll be doing today. History we'll be doing later. Again, history factories, directives, that we'll do later. Validation and services also we'll do later. View model, controllers and views we'll do today. Okay. So by the end of this whole training session, you should be able to understand the framework as a whole. By the framework, when I say, I mean all of these components of that framework. Okay. Okay. So we'll start with filters. So Angular has got a lot of built-in filters. Okay. So whatever is the typical reusable items like number formatting or date formatting, that is already built in. You don't have to build it again and again, reinvent the wheel. No, you have to just use a filter and put it over there. Okay. Now how to do that? We'll do, like, let's use the first one as a case, and let's see how we are able to use filters in the project. Okay. For that, I want you to repeat. Go to your terminal. Okay, go to your project directory and say git fetch. When you say git fetch, okay, you will either you are up to date. If you are not up to date, you will receive some tags. Okay, so just do git fetch quickly, and please do it very quickly so that we'll make up in 1 hour. Done? Very good. Now the next item is git checkout -f tag /5.0. So this is a regular command that you are going to use in the training sessions. So please remember it always. Okay. What you are doing is you are getting the 5.0 tag. It's one of the tag that I put into the code. Okay. Git checkout -f.
For me, it's not coming because I have downloaded the zip file. Then
That's a problem. You have adopted a shortcut. Shortcut never works. I mean, it works for a shortcut. Okay, no problem. So you can go to github.com and download this tag. I mean, if you set up this tag and say download zip,
that is
it will
code is only I have done the latest code.
Okay, so okay. Okay, done. Everybody. So you are not using laptops. Those who are doing done. Okay, very good. So let's see what you got after the. So you should have app folder. Okay. App folder has got index.html. All right. And you should have some JS folder which will have a controller built in. So last time we have created one controller, right? Hello world controller that would be there by default, and I have also added one CSS file. Okay, just so that you know that this is how this line number 10 is how we use CSS files. Okay, whosoever does not know about how to consume CSS, don't feel that how would I do that, but this is how you do it. Okay, so I have also done one more thing, that I have added bootstrap as our Bower dependency. Okay, so what you have to do is every time you do this out -f or some command, okay, you are shifting to a new point in Git repository. So ideally, every time what you should do is npm install. Okay, if that does not do anything, means you are up to date already. Okay, let me do it again. npm install. It is not showing anything, which means it is done. Okay, and you are already up to date. And the second command that you should always do is bower install. Again, if it is not doing anything, means you are already up to date. On my system, I am already up to date. If you are not, you can use these commands. They'll make your things up to date. Okay, without which your project will not work. Okay. Now, in Hello World controller, okay, Hello World controller, like last time that we should declare one app and then you should click on the module app. Okay. So in the Hello World controller, I have added one variable, okay, called scope.employees. Okay. In that, I have created a very simple array. Okay. Now my goal is to list down these array and use filter to query the related item that I want. Okay. So I've created one employees array which actually has got two items. One is name, another is designation. Okay. Now look at changes in the. So these are the changes that I've done. Okay. Employee data I've added, and that's it. So now I will add the whole, the whole piece through which we can showcase the search toolbar, and we'll also see how to display. Okay? So let's start. So it's the ng controller equals to hello world controller is already the controller scope. We need to start showing uh, the employees first of all. All right. Any question? No. So every time you want to, reiterate the same, same statement over a loop of statements, you can use ng repeat. Okay, ng repeat is one of the directive that is built in. Okay, remember this is a word called directive. Okay, and we'll discuss directives later. For now, you should understand how to use it, and then we'll discuss it later about the details. Okay, so we'll say employee in employees. Now, what does it mean? So we are repeating for employees uh, array that we have declared in the hello world controller, right? We have an employees array, right? So we are reiterating in the employees array, and every item of that would be known as employee. So you can use this employee object, and then you can say label, and just like double curly brace, you can say employee dot name. You remember there were two items, right? Name and designation. Okay. So after a label, I have to put in line break so that it can show me in the second line, and say label employee dot designation, right? Okay. So once it is done, you can go to your terminal and say npm start. You can actually say npm start earlier also. That's not an issue. And go to your browser and say localhost 3000/n. Now you can see them, right? So name, designation, again name and designation, and then again name and designation, right? So you could see, right? Okay, so once it is done, I just wanted to change in my template so that because they are looking more mixed up together, right? So I wanted to display them as a separate item because they all are coming up in a same item. So we'll use a bit of beautification. Okay, so you will also understand some of the concepts of CSS. All right. So what I will do is, rather than div, I will use UL. UL is unordered list. Okay. So after UL is done. Div in place of diff, I will say OL. Okay. Sorry.
What are
Oh yeah, sorry. Not orderless. I would say LI. Okay. Now, if you see in style.css, I put in UL and LI. Okay. So how you can select called and put a curly brace, and then you can put style statements inside, which I'm just going to copy paste in the interest of time. Oh man. Okay. It's not going. I will show that. Orange, I think I've kept. Okay. Yeah, it's opening now. Anyways, yep, it's open. So I can just copy paste. Oops, it says red. Okay. Anyways, I can still do that. Anyway. Okay, so let's see how my application look like now. At least I can identify that they are three different items, right? And now I am going to put up filter. Okay. Now to be able to provide a filter, I would like to have a common filter, a generic filter which works on a JSON object. Okay. Which means that it can filter out any of the properties from the JSON filter. Okay. So what I'm going to use is maybe another text box. Okay. Input type text. So now whenever user will write into this, it will be treated as text, and I would say model equals to query. Okay. When I say model equals to query means whatever user types into this input, I want to store it into this query. Okay. Into the Angular scope. And now I want to filter this whole thing saying that you'll use a pipe character. Okay. I think it is not visible to everyone, so let me move it. Say filter and a semicolon, sorry, colon, query. So whatever you are putting into this text would be used in this filter, which is a built-in filter, which is a generic filter, and it will filter this employees array. Okay. And whatever were there in array, we are using in iterating in as a loop, and we are showing it into these labels. Okay. So let's see. Now save it and refresh it. So I can see a text box here. Now what I should write? Let's say I write Gracie. Okay. So as soon as I write GRA, it will start filtering. It will always be filtering, whether or not you are typing or not. Okay. It is always whenever there's this is called dirty. Okay. Whenever there is a variable which is dirty, it will involve a digest loop, which will understand later maybe. And then that digest loop is always keep on repeating until the item is dirty. Okay. So as soon as I write something, it goes into ng model. Okay. Model name is query. Okay. Whenever query gets dirty, it will go into the digest loop and it will run the filter. Okay. As soon as you are running the filter, it is filtering the employees array. Okay. Once the employees array is filtered, you can do anything with it. Okay. What we are doing is we are displaying that onto the screen. Okay. You understand? Everyone? Understood? What?
We want to filter everything.
Mm-hmm.
To the model name using the model name in the text box. From there, you can filter what you want.
Okay. Not the complete answer though. So what we will do is we'll use it into the filter query. Okay. So whatever expression we write in front of the filter is also called as query as a concept. Okay, not as a name. So if you see, I have shown you number of different filters like number, column, fraction size. So just assume that we have employee salary. Okay, and if we want to filter or we want to show it as a type of number, okay, then we can use number filter. So I can give you one example maybe here, just a very short one. Okay, so let's say salary. Okay, and I say salary is 2033 point. Okay, now I understand that nobody is actually receiving this decimal numbers into the salary, but just for the sake of showing you the concept, I'm using it. And there, uh, I can say cell and then number. Okay, now it will convert this into the number, and then you can say fraction size 2. And you can see this number is there, it's in number format. Okay, although I have not mentioned any comma in between, it has added on its own because it's come into the number format always. Okay, and the decimal size, the fraction size is also limited to 2 because I have specified as 2. Okay, so this is the use of filter. So you can use any filter which is built in, and just you need to put up a pipe character in front of your model, just like we do here. Okay, you can put a pipe character and then you can put your filter. So filter could be filter, which is a generic filter. You can put a date also, because date is also a filter, and you can put number. There are a lot of things. I have mentioned the link over here. If you go on to this link, you will see a lot of filters are already built in. Those are commonly usable, and you can also build in your own filter. I think in the next session, Naren will cover how to build custom filters. Okay. Any doubt at this point?
Sir, query that you said that it will digest and dirty. If the variable is not dirty, then it will filter. If it is dirty, then it will digest something. Can you re-explain this?
Yeah, so that digest loop will also come in later sessions. I've just given you a hint that how it works. So it is always working on that. It is always looking at whether it is dirty or not. So as soon as you type anything, it is dirty. Until that is not settled, it will keep on working it. Okay. So just remember that, and also remember that we'll cover digest loop in some later sessions. Okay. So we'll explain how digest loop works. Okay, it's a complex procedure, so you cannot understand it as of now. Okay. As any doubt apart from this in filters? I would still like you to see git checkout -f tags 6.0. So 5.0 is my start and 6.0 is my end of. And if you see, this is how I have just reformatted. Okay, so you can just say Clark. Okay, so just some CSS changes that you can see. So I always advise you to go to these code because they are at a public repository. Okay, I'll share that repository again. You can always go to the start of the session and end of the session to see what are the code changes. Okay, and you should always try to start from the start of the session code and try to make it up to the end of the session, and then you can revalidate yourself. Okay. So 5.0 is start, 6.0 is end. Okay. And then next topic we'll say 7.0. So let's do 7.0. Do it with me. Do it on your machines. Next session is about controllers and scope. Okay. Last time I have given you a hint that we can have multiple controllers. Sorry, is there someone on? Yeah, on GoToMeeting. Is it? Is there any question?
Yeah, Devendra. Yeah.
Hello, Devendra. Vijay here. In the filters, right now, what we are doing is when we are searching, right, the query was for it was dependent
Mm-hmm.
on whatever text and it was searching in all the fields. How do we filter out only based on the first name or last name? If we had to give a
Yeah.
filter like that, how would we do that? How would we achieve that?
So if you want to search on anything which is custom, okay, because the object can be really complex, then please you can also benefit from the questions that have been asked. Okay, so please listen to them carefully. Okay, rather than gossiping. So what I'm saying is you can use two things. Number one is you can define your own comparator, which is a function which will give you a comparison whether whatever search term or the keyword is matching into your JSON object or not. If you see in my slide, I have mentioned that filter, which is on the screen, filter, expression, and then column comparator. Okay. If you don't want to use this, you can also build on your own custom filter, which we will cover in the next session, right? Okay. So it's a very generic filter function, which is by default created as built-in filter. Okay.
Right.
Have I answered your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, let's jump to the next one, controllers. So, like I said earlier, we can use lot many controllers, and every controller has its own scope. Okay, so controllers have its own scope means actually we are limiting the scope by using number of controllers. Okay. Apart from that, there is no use of controller. Controller is a kind of middleman. Okay, middleman in between what? In between model and view. Okay, what you are doing in controller? Tell me.
Business logic,
Business logic. What else?
code logic, UI
What
logic.
else? Business logic is code logic. How else do you think that anything else will come? No. Data binding? Yes, exactly. So what we are doing are two things. One is business logic, which could be or could not be data binding. Okay. So we generally tend to write some business logic into controller, which is not always data bound. Okay. But essential work of controller is data binding. So whenever you want a data to flow from model to view, okay, you will use controller. Okay. Apart from that, if you want to write down your own custom business logic, which is really big, you should not use controller. Controller should be as small as possible and should be stick to data binding. Data binding is the key concept to write down controllers efficiently. If you write down more code into controller, you are just polluting your scope and nothing else. Okay. So you should not write down code in controllers. And the question comes, where should I write my code? Because in a big scale application, the code could be really huge. And you're saying don't write in controller. Where should I write? You should write in the factories or services. Okay. We'll cover that later. So for now, you are allowed to write in controllers. Okay. But this is not a good practice. Remember that. Okay. data bindings and small helper functions. Could be small helper functions like my filter comparator function. Okay, I can write down in controller. If I am writing my huge logic for filter also, huge logic means it could be anything in between 40 lines to 400 lines. Okay, then I should not use controller. Okay, but small helper functions I can write in controller, because if you try to create different file or factories for each and every logic, you will be under with a lot of files, right? It's again a bad practice. There is also another concept of controller as. We'll cover that later. So controller as will give you opportunity to write down this as keyword. Okay, we'll see that. So I believe you have already done this 7.0. Okay. So 7.0 says control and scope start. So let's see what's there. When you do, you can see two controllers in your index.html. Okay, you can see hello world controller and one more, another controller. Okay, I've already declared it as another controller. Okay, and the task which I wanted to perform using another controller is add new employee. Okay, now according to business logic, it is a bit more, because I want to add new employee into my employee stack, which I should be able to filter. Okay, but I don't want to use the same controller, which I should not do that. I mean, logically, everything which is related to one view should be in one controller. But I just wanted to showcase how you use another controller, how you communicate in between controller or data bars in controllers. Okay, so so I'm writing a function called scope dot add new employee, because I wanted to refer it from the view. Anything that I wanted to refer or bind to a view should be on scope. If it is not on scope, you cannot bind it to view, right? So I've written a function this time. It's not a variable, it's a function this time. Okay, remember this is a change. Earlier you have seen as an array or a message or a variable in a simpler sense. Okay, scope dot some name of the variable and you have populated with some value. This time it is a function, and you can also see hello world controller. It's just the same, nothing different. Okay, in my index, don't be afraid of so much of code. I've just added a new div, okay, which is another controller, and I've added some label and then input and then label and then input, because I want the name of the employee, the new employee, the designation of the new employee, and a submit button. Okay, so if I click on submit button, what it should do? What it should do?
Go to the function.
It should go to that function, and then its function's responsibility how to add the new employee. Okay, so now this text and this text, actually it should refer and it should add these into the my array. Now that array which belongs to hello world controller, how would I access over here in this controller? Any guess? Okay, root scope is one answer. What else? What should be the ideal way? Nikita, any hint? What should be good way to refer? Yes, exactly. So we should actually, in Angular terms, we should use a service, because service or the factory should be my model, okay, not the controller. Okay, but right now we are not at that state that we could use uh, factory as my model. Okay, So limiting to my trading scope or whatever scope, I am using root scope. So what I will do is from this module, I'll pass employee and from controller, I'll use the root scope to populate it. Okay. Now let's see how to do that. So in my add new employee, I'm already accessing root scope. This controller doesn't know root scope, so let's. So do it side by side. Okay. So whenever we are injecting something, we are mentioning it twice. One format is in the string format, okay, and another format is the parameter in the function. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? That is all. You are not listening that. So basically, I was asking that whenever we are injecting anything, we are mentioning it twice. One is in the string format, and another is in the parameter format. Why do we do that?
Where they were adding dependencies.
Yes, this is partial answer, but why is my question.
Because that is considered object, that other scope and root scope.
Access parent scope.
No. Pradeep, any guess? No. Subramanian? No. I'm surprised. Anyone? Nikita? No. Okay, I'll give you the answers. So basically, I mentioned the square bracket, right? Last time also I told you, maybe you have not mentioned it in your mindset. What happens is, whenever injector is injecting, right, it should know the correct name. Okay. The parameters, if I rub this off, okay, and my parameter name is correct, injector can find it. But what happens sometimes? Finally, when I build my code and ship it to production environment, I don't put it as a source code. I uglify it. When I do uglify, root scope will not be named as root scope. It will be turned to A or B or C or D. Okay? So injector will fail. Okay? So I do this. So I put my square bracket and the correct names. Okay? Correct name should be here. And then you name it anything you want and it will work. Okay?
So order should be same then.
Order should be always same. If you reverse the order, scope will be injected as root scope and root scope will be injected as scope. Injector will work on its own way, in the correct way. But what you will get is vice versa. Okay? Alright. So now I have injected root scope. Okay? Now I am able to access root scope.employees. But I have not done the same thing in my hello world controller. So let's do the same thing here, because first I need to populate my root scope. Okay.
Here instead of root scope or root scope, we can use anything, any name you want in parameters.
Yeah, that's true. So here I'm saying root scope.employees equals to scope.employees. And one more thing I would like to tell you about root scope is the parent of every scope. Okay. So if you say root scope.new, you will get another scope. Okay. So what we have done is we have populated employees into the scope and we have transferred that reference into root scope. Okay. In my another controller, I am accessing that, so I will get my employees, right? So let's see whether I get or not. Because it's a console log, I would like to show it to you. In the console here. So let me just refresh. For refreshing, I get my name, designation, and add new employee. I just click on this. When I click on this, I see the console log with my 3 objects because I had 3 objects in my array. Okay. Now let's try to make this button work. Okay. So now we know that we have the employees array. I need to push a new item. Okay. If I push the correct item, it will get added into the employees database, which is nothing but a variable, and will get displayed here. Okay. So to be able to do that, just write down some code here. Okay. Root scope dot employees dot push. Okay, I'm pushing an object because employees array is actually array of objects. Okay, and then I say name was one property, and now what?
Scope dot whatever object left you can give that another controller.
First input name is.
Exactly. The input name should be bound here because input name should come here, right? I have not declared any input model, right? You remember?
So in view here and
Yeah. In view, this is not bound to my controller. So I should first go back and bound it. I say ng model equals to employee name. Okay. And for designation also, we'll say ng model equals to employee desig. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Once it is done, you can use it in your controller. So just copy it and go to your controller and say scope dot employee and then designation a. Now I have mixed it. Designation what was that? Okay. So once it is done, I have pushed, but I need to also clear those fields. Otherwise, it will again be populated. So I will do that. So empty. Okay. Done? Is it done? Let's see. I type something here. There okay. As soon as I say add, how it is adding here?
because engineering there.
So again, it is all up to date, right? This is the power of Angular. Okay, it is every time up to date. So I have told you in the first session, you take care of data, Angular will take care of view, right? So what I've done is I have added it into my employee array. Okay, the array was bound to the view, and view is always updated with a model. Okay. Now look at one more thing. That suppose I say search ABCD. Now ABCD does not exist, right? So ABCDEF designation don't know. Add. Despite of the search, because the search was also applied on my employee database, it has come into the search result, and that's why it is shown. Okay. So I'm saying that data binding works in so much efficiency that even if it is search result and you populate a new item, and the view is on search, it will get populated over there. You don't have to really worry about anything on the view. Okay, this is beauty of Angular. Okay. Hmm. Okay, let's see what I have coded at the end of this. Okay. Hmm. The same form, a bit more beautified. I would like you to show how it is beautified. Okay. So here I have used a different technique. I've used a new employee binding. Okay, and then I have done a validation also, but it's okay. So our main intention is to see how we are beautifying all the things. Okay, so here I have used my bootstrap classes. Okay, you need to understand this because bootstrap is so much oftenly used concept. So bootstrap has got a fluid or grid layout. Okay, fluid layout and grid layout is one of the same thing. You will find on the website grid layout, but it's a fluid layout. Basically, a way to design a responsive website. Okay, so it's the responsiveness starts when you put up a class equals to container on the parent. Okay, parent means wherever you think this is a parent should have class container. Okay, and then you need to divide all the web page into rows and columns. Okay, so I was thinking that okay, it's only one row item. You can have a situation where it can have multiple rows. Okay, so one row you can see only one div class equals to row, and then you have columns. So you see only one column. I've written down everything. Okay, so it's one row, one column layout. Okay, now so we work. I mean, Bootstrap works on a 12 column layout. Okay, 12 column layout. When you say 12 column layout, you can decide which column should be a width of 4 columns or 5 columns or 3 columns. Ultimately, total columns and the width of all should be 12. Okay. So I said my div equals to col, but the width equals to col MD 4. MD and XS and that you can read on the Bootstrap. Medium, yeah. But what does medium means? You can read on Bootstrap. It's okay. 4. So my width is 4. Where is the rest of the column? We don't have to worry about that. Bootstrap will automatically manage it. Okay. If I wanted to put up more columns, total addition should be 12, not greater than that. Okay. So MD4, and then I have also used form panel and form group. Okay. This is for the topmost part. For this part. Okay. You see how it is nicely aligned to each other. Okay. And then this is a separate form. Okay. So if you see this one, it's a separate form. Okay. So you see form group. Sorry. Okay, I was displaying you in the another controller. Okay, same here and same here. Okay. So this is one form and this is another. Here I have used form panel and form group. So what happens is that when you assign a form panel, you can have different type of forms. So one could be like horizontal form, like we were seeing in our drive test. Okay, and here where I have done this, it's not a horizontal form, right? It's not horizontal, right? It is one after the other. Okay, it's a classic form basically. Okay, all right. So I've used a form group for name, group of label and input. Okay, and then another group for label and input. Okay, simple. All right. So you can use Bootstrap in such a way to beautify your content because that is also very much important. You should understand the basic concepts of Bootstrap, and then from there your designer can take care of it. Okay, but when you are creating your view, you should know the bare minimum aspects of grid design or grid layout. Okay, all right, nothing special as such. Yep, it's the same. Any question in this? Yep.
Yes, in another controller,
Hmm.
we are using that to root scope dot employees, right?
Hmm.
And in hello world controller, we are listing that scope dot employees. So how it is? I mean, after adding, it is getting converted that scope dot employees.
So very good question. It goes back to JavaScript concept. If you have heard of pass by value and pass by reference, okay. So everything which is primitive, which is a primitive data type, which means either number or a string, okay, they will be passed by value. Okay, which means if you say A equals to B, A will always be referring to the value of while assignment. Okay, and if later B changes, A will not change. Okay, but when you pass a complex data type, which is object or array in typical sense, then they are passed by reference. So once you tied up, okay, once you say scope dot employee, sorry, root scope dot employee equals to root scope dot employee, okay, they both are referring to same pointer, okay, same array, okay. They are not two different array anymore. If you change in one array, the other will automatically change because they are not different arrays. They are only one array. Both the things are pointing to the same array.
Same memory location.
Same memory location in very complicated term. Okay, but they are both same array. If I update one, any of them, the second will automatically get updated. And that is the exact reason why you are populating root scope, but you can see the change in view. The view which was linked to what? Linked to hello world controller. You are changing in root scope, but view was affecting because that view was linked to the scope which was linked to root scope. Okay, it's a not complex, but it's a chain. Okay, so they are all referring to same array. Okay. Any question from that side, Shishir and the party?
No, thank you.
No question from you? Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, we'll quickly jump to roots. I know we are at 4 now. But yeah, let me just finish this one and then we can leave. I'll try to finish as early as possible. Roots. So roots, when you define roots, okay, it gives us immense capability in terms of defining my roots, which I can access through either states or either from URL. Okay, so my application is whole, like I've told you in the first session that an SPA is initially having one view and then later on it will keep on switching different views, right? When it is switching different view, user might want to remember one of them. Okay, maybe they want to bookmark them, or maybe they want to just copy the URL and send it to somebody. Okay, and that somebody will actually access that same URL. Want to see the same root? I mean, same state of the application. Okay, that's why root are very much important. Okay, and another thing is that if you want to re-render from that URL, then also you need routes to be defined. Okay, so Angular gives us, what route does is it gives URL a scope. Okay, so ultimately scope was bound to controller. Okay, but now that controller or the scope both are referred or bound to a one URL. Okay, we'll declare that URL, this URL is going to have this scope. Okay, and this controller maybe. Okay, you can choose to have controller or not to have controller. So see, templates get injected in ngview. So ngview is our key over here, okay, when a URL is visited. So whenever you change a URL, okay, the respective template, okay, when I say template, template is not equals to view, okay, remember that. Template is a template where data has to be filled in to create it as a view, okay. So template get injected and it will also have a respective controller. Controller will bring in the scope, okay, and that data will get injected into the template to form a view, okay. You understand this? No. We'll see and we'll understand. All the pages are injected by XHR. It's okay. So let's jump to which number? Okay, 8 we have already done. So okay, see these both ng controllers. I'm just going to remove them from here. Okay, and we'll see div UI view. Now why UI view? Because I don't want to use Angular router. Okay, Angular router is limited to URLs. While sometimes I need some extra capabilities which I don't get in ng router. So there is a third-party library which is Angular UI. Okay, and it has got one package called UI router. Okay, I'm going to use that so that I can display you the same functionality which ng view gives.
So shall we add this in script tag UI for that?
No, we'll do that. I think I've already done that, but anyways. So UI view, okay. But from where this UI view comes from? UI router, of course. So we need to declare in our JSON. Okay, I think we are not on correct repository.
Not taken the 9.
I have not taken the 9th. Yeah, that's why I was thinking that I should have. Okay, I've already added UI router as dependency in 9.0, which is a good place to start. So what I have to do is in my bower.json, I have to add this one of the dependency, Angular UI router. Or you can directly say bower install Angular -UI-router -save. Okay. When you say -save, it will always add it into your bower.json and it will also install it. Okay. So once it is done, you have to obviously say bower install. Okay. Yeah, you need to say bower install in order to get it. In my case, I believe I already have it. Okay. Angular UI router is already there. So then after that, I need to go to my index and I need to add this into my index. Okay. So this is what you were referring to. So libs Angular UI router. You can just see how the path is. Angular UI router, under which there is a release and the source. Obviously, I don't want to use the source. I'll say release and then Angular UI router.min.js. Why not this one? Why this one?
Compressed because.
Why this one? Min? Yeah.
Because version, JavaScript version.
Mm-hmm.
This version is used only for UAT or development purpose.
It's not JavaScript version, it's a version of this library, which is minified. So it will give you less number of KBs. So file size is less. Okay? So we'll use this one. And once it is done, you can just remove this guy. It's again coming. Okay. Just remove this guy and say div UI view. So now what is UI view again? It's a directive. Okay. We'll come to directive later, but just use it. Okay. So once it is done, you can declare your views, roots. Okay. So create a new file, and here you can say app.config. When you declare app.config, you are declaring a block which is running at bootstrap time when your Angular project is starting to render on the browser. Okay, before rendering only and after downloading all the components, this will run. Okay, so this is at the config time of Angular. Okay, you can say I want what? State provider, state provider. When I say state provider means state provider is given by Angular UI router. Okay, so you don't need to worry from where it will come, but it will come automatically. State provider dot state is a function in which you are going to declare your states. Every state is a object. Okay, you say okay, and just say maybe home. Okay, and then template. If you want to specify the template code here only, you can say template. But I want to use template URL, and then I need to say template slash home.html. And then if you want to specify controller, you can specify controller. Again, you can write down your controller code here also. But I want to specify my controller. What was that controller name? Okay. I don't have another controller. Sure. Okay, I'll say home controller. Okay. All right. Now what I need to create? I need to create home controller. I also need to create home.html because they don't exist. Okay. And then obviously I'll go back. First of all, I'll save this file. Where? In JS. I'll save it as roots.js. Okay. Okay. It's saved, but it is not referred to. So I'll go my index and I'll say script and src. It's in under js/routes, right? Okay. This is js/routes. Okay. And then
inside JS there is controller. Inside controller.
No, that's a folder. Controllers is
that's a folder.
Yeah.
So in my app, I would create a new folder called template. Okay. Templates. And in the templates, I will create a new file and I would save it as home.html. And this new file can say anything. I would say div come on. Okay. So, and the last thing is home controller. It's not really good name. CNTRL. Okay. CTRL, whatever. It's okay. And that should be in controllers. So I will say app.controller. No. Square bracket scope function scope. Okay. And I say what I have mentioned in home test. Okay, and I need to save this home controller. Yeah. Okay. So what I've done is I've created one route, I've created one home.html, I've created one controller route, and I should also add controller into my index, which is the last thing. I am just copying and pasting, and I say, what is the name? Home controller, right? Controller. Okay. And what else? Is there anything left out? Refresh, nothing. Okay. Why? I cannot see anything.
So you haven't defined that default route.
Exactly. You haven't defined any default route, but defined home. Why this hash? Because I want to mention that this is the application and this is one of the route, and this aggregation happens through hash function. So when I say home, I still have some problem. What is the problem? A app is not defined. Okay, why it happens?
Home controller module is not there. Home controller doesn't know what is app.
Home controller doesn't know what is app, but why? Because in my hello world it is there.
Home controller.
No, home controller is injected later. Right?
Yeah, we need to get that right.
Need to get what?
Module.
So I'm saying no, right? Okay, that I believe will not solve the problem. What do you want to mention?
Yeah.
I doubt. Okay, let's try. Again, same thing. So what might be happening is that yeah, exactly. So maybe we have to inject the router, which we are missing out. So we don't have to do this. Let's try this. And in my hello world controller, where I'm putting empty square brackets, it's a time to inject my new dependency, which is UI.router. Okay. So UI router is the name of Angular UI router. Okay. You can understand it as a code name basically. And then let's see whether it works. Oops, still not working. Okay, without wasting time, let's go to my next code thing. Okay. Yeah, this time without error. Let's see what I have. So I have my home controller, home view controller. Oh wow. So this should not be there. Home view controller. So what I've done is I've done one more thing. I've created one task application, task to do application, and just think that this is populated in my home view controller rather than home controller. This is my route. Okay, again the same. Okay, no, wrong. This this is my route. Home view controller home.tpl. I have added TPL because it's a convention uh, to put in front of templates. Okay, because there should be ideally only one file, HTML file, The other should be templates. Okay. So I put TPL, and then I've added home view controller, and there is employees route also. Okay. So employees route will again show you the same application that you have already created so far, and home view controller will show you some different. And this time it's not slash home, it is slash. Okay. So let me just remove this guy. And now let's do this. So this is my task application that I have created. I just wanted to show you something which is happening. It's nothing but when you click on cross, when you're done with the task, you just cross it. Okay. And I've also created a link. Now, how to create a link in between controllers? Sorry, in between routes. That you can see in my home TPL. So you can use UI sref. Okay, UI sref. Okay, and the route that to which you want to link. Okay. So if you remember in routes.js, not routes, but app.js, I've created this employees route. Okay. So it will link to that URL and it will jump over there. Let's see whether it jumps. Yes, it jumps.
The URL also changes.
Yeah. Yes, the URL also changes. If you bookmark this and come again on this one, so like suppose I bookmark and then I render it somewhere else, it will be rendered from there in. Okay. So this is the work of a route. Okay. What typically it does, it just bounds the scope, not the controller or not the template, the scope to a URL. Okay. And everything else follows. You can add template, you want to add the controller, you can add the controller. By the way, I just wanted to show you one more thing, that in this case, I have not added any controller. Okay. How then it is working without a controller? I have done this in my employee TPL because here I am referring ng controller. Okay. So you can, I'm just showcasing you that this is how you can use multiple options. I'm not telling you that this is the prescribed way. The prescribed way is different, which is this one. Okay. So you use URL, you use template, you use controller, define them on the route, and use that. Okay. This is the prescribed way. Okay. All right. Any questions so far?
There are ng route and UI route.
Yes. There are two things: UI router and Angular router. So when you say Angular router, it is given by default by developers who have developed Angular. Okay. This Angular UI router is developed by some third party, somebody like you. Okay. Okay. Who has figured out that there is some gaps in my Angular router, so let's add it. You can refer a website, Angular UI website, and see the functionalities they have added. There's a, I think I have listed down the link. No. No, not it.
Sir, have you injected that
Yeah, here.
UI route?
This github.com/angular-ui/UI router/wiki. Okay. It will give you complete guide how to use it. And it would be good if you read it and use it. At least one extra item, like resolution, like state. Okay, you can use states. Okay, right? In employee, like in employee application, one state could be to search, and another state could be to add. There could be another state to delete. Okay, so coming back to that assignment, so we'll have delete as one separate route which will delete from my employee. Okay, and that should work. Okay, I should be able to go through different routes, at least two routes. Okay, one to delete and one to see my employees. Okay, I will expect you to come or any issue. Okay, all right.
So can you show me the example? Like,
Which
I
example?
understand that route.
Okay. Okay, just a minute. So, this route thing is clear to anyone, everyone, or any issue, any question? No? Sure.
What is the issue in the default route? Angular route.
NG route does not give you states, any scope that you want to attach to one route, but different scopes. So suppose you want to, like I said, employee database could have two different states. One state could be to search or to list down all the employees. Okay. Another state of that application could be only to delete. Okay. Right. So you cannot do that using ng route. Okay.
We can use multiple ng views in UI router.
Multiple ng views in
UI router.
yeah,
UI route supports many sublevels. Within a route, another route like that. But MGView basically don't.
In single view there. Okay.
I think
This is the most advantage. I mean, added advantages. UI
no,
router,
state is the drastic which ng route does not. You can
In Azure, we can't use this one state.
state you cannot use. Yeah, you need to use URL provider.
Cancel first line, ng views and all. And
Any concern? Any question? No?
can we have two templates in one row?
That's what you have done. Oh, here? No, you cannot do that. No. But in your template, you can write down in such a way, like in this case, I have written that you can cause it to have look like two templates. Okay.
So, like, if there is a add function, add user. So if you user click on add, so it should go to a function. So here we want to use the that now. Like if you use it, click on add, so it should go to this link as step. So here you put some URL. So inside the URL, can we add some verification like user ID or whatever they have entered? We should verify.
Yeah. You can use that. You can use. That's why I mentioned that link, and I want you to read that. Okay, because what you can do is you can carry forward data from one route to another route using state params. Okay, so from one route you want to shift to another route. Okay, so that you can delete from there, right? That we were doing earlier using root scope. Okay, but you can do it using state params also. So you can shift your data from one state to another state. You state. Okay. So what you have to do is you control it. Here you have to inject state params and you will get the data. So you read that guide that I mentioned, okay, and then you get to know about that. Okay. I haven't. I have. Okay. I'll make it public then. I think it's already public. Okay, I'll share it. Git repository is also public. Okay, I'll share both of the things in the same way. Okay. Any other question related to that? Any question on GoToMeeting?
Why one it was.
Okay. So what I've done is these were the tasks. Okay. As soon as task was completed, I was saying task completed from the view. Task completed equals to true. Okay. And if you look at my view, when I was clicking, right, ng click I was using, and I was calling this function complete item, and I was passing task into it. So what happens whenever you click on that, click cross button, right? Will get called, task will get injected from here. It will go into this controller. How that will become strike through? Using CSS. In my home.html, I use an ng class. I say strikeout class to be used whenever task.completed is. Able to switch to this route, delete, and come back, and then I should see the deleted item. Okay, this is your exercise. If you have any issue in doing it, you can contact me offline. I mean, don't wait for this meeting to happen and then only we'll do it. No, you can catch me or Naren. Naren will help you. In fact, Nikita also can help you. She's now becoming new expert in Angular. Okay, so contact all of us and we'll be able to help you. All right. Okay, cool. Thank you. Anybody who has a question, you can say it. Okay. You had some question. Is it clarified? Not yet. Huh?
I want to know the difference between package.json and board.
Package is used for some different tasks altogether. So if, like I've told you in the start, there are two different library management things that we use. One is npm and another is bower. Just a minute. Shishir, or your team has got some issue or question?
No, Devendra.
Okay, so we have actually defined one exercise which is to be done for the next session.
Okay.
Have you understood that requirement?
Yeah.
Have you understood already, or should I repeat again?
Most of the people have left. So,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was asking again whether, but anyways, I'll send out an email which will have the details. Okay.
sure. That would be fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. All right. And I hope you have recorded this session. Is it?
Yeah. Correct. I'll share a link with you.
Yeah. And probably it would be best if you can upload it onto our YouTube channel. You know the Axion has got a YouTube channel.
No.
Okay. Anyways, you send me the link. I'll try to upload it. Okay.
Sure. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. I'll wait for your email then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What was that?